Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo, and today we're going to be playing Skyshine's Bedlam. Bedlam is it's a roguelike exploration adventure game with turn-based combat. It has a very sort of gritty wasteland feel to it. It is a very gory game. The art style is extremely standout. In fact, the art style was one of the first things that attracted me to Bedlam before the game even released. Before we even actually saw any proper footage of it, I was very intrigued by the art style, the art direction in the game. It was just, I mean, look at it. It's very eye-grabbing. It's quite awesome, and it's a huge part of the Bedlam experience, and it really has made the game quite enjoyable. And you'll see that once we're in combat and you see some of the animations and the action going on. It is a slick-looking title. Now, while I was very excited for the game, there was a lot of sort of mixed reactions for this game, and I think a lot of that has to do with the game's difficulty, which at times can be quite punishing, even on easy. That being said, I do think there are a lot of people who enjoyed Iron Man mode in XCOM, people who enjoy, Dark Souls. We like hard games. We like games that give us very, very, very tiny amounts of hand-holding. Games that set us out on our own to fail again and again and again to learn how to succeed. And that is very much what Bedlam is about. So we're going to start a brand new run here today, and we're going to give this thing a go. So first and foremost, we're going to be selecting our dozer. I only have one dozer unlocked, but you can see there are actually different dozers based on different AI that you have to actually unlock by playing the game. So lots of replayability just within the dozers and the races that you can unlock. So we're going to have to go with humans for now, and we're going to go with the Bone Shaker, and we're going to play on easy. Trust me, it's not actually easy. So the main premise, the main story behind Bedlam is that there's this dude Lazarus, and he's like, we need to explore beyond Byzantine. There is other stuff here. And there's all these naysayers who are like, Byzantine is the only great city. Rawr, down with Lazarus. So you leave in this crazy dozer. You, the player, actually are playing the role of this mechanic who they found, cyborg sort of mechanic rusting inside of his dozer, and they brought him back to life to lead them on this journey. So you can see we've got a couple different exit routes from Byzantine to head into the wasteland, essentially. The lands of Bedlam, to make our way to Aztec City eventually. There's going to be a lot we're going to do along the way. We're probably not going to make it all the way. Actually, I know we're not going to make it all the way because that would take several hours. But we're going to see how far we can get, and we're going to see if we can stay alive through the end of this playthrough. So let's just go ahead and head over to Cathode Chasm. Now you'll notice that every single move you make in your dozer costs resources. It also costs time. That's indicated by the sun, the amount of days that will pass. You have your sort of fuel cells, and then you have, this is crude, it's basically fuel, and then you have your meat or your food, and you also have power cells, which can be spent later on in other ways. So let's make this happen. As the dozer passes into the indignant fringe wards near the city's outer wall, the crowd thins and seems distinctly unrefined. A twitchy man, garbed in a frayed ignition jacket, steps into the road in the path of the dozer, standing with his arms outstretched. The man appears to be one of the radical Metro Zealots, angered about Lazarus and his publicized journey to another fabled city beyond Bedlam. "There is but one true city," the man screams. "Those who divide the immaculate majesty of Byzantine shall be stricken in blood." With that, the man detonates his explosive clothing, but the impact barely scratches the dozer's exterior plating, instead leaving only a chunky red smear. Well, that was a failed attempt. As the city limits, the dozer approaches the colossal reinforced gates, which slowly rumble aside to allow passage for the daring expedition. Out into the wastelands we go. Alright, so all of this is kind of like just point-to-point based. As you go to different locations, you'll unlock areas you can explore. It's all going to cost resources, and it all has to be maintained, and I haven't figured out how to do any of that yet, so we're going to fail miserably, but we're going to have fun while we're doing it. So let's go ahead and head on out to our first location. There's a lot of reading to be done here. I'm going to say that there's a lot of reading. I'm going to try and narrate it all. Let me know if you guys want to hear me just skip it, or if you enjoy the narration for any future playthroughs or Let's Plays of Bedlam. While traveling along the road, the dozer slowly grinds to a halt. The vehicle is mired in some kind of quicksand. Even the dozer's mighty engines can't free it from this Bedlam gunk. Your technicians may be able to come up with a solution, but any option will consume some of the resources on board. So we can sit around and wait, which is definitely not my style, and I'm sure it's not the style of anyone who wants to survive in a wasteland. We could use power cells, or we could use crude. Now, power cells are very valuable to us, but crude is just as valuable. And if you run out of crude, then your dozer stops and it's game over. Let's use power cells. Your brilliant technicians construct a makeshift apparatus by lashing Duraplex cables to a nearby rock formation and hauling the dozer forward with a fusion-powered winch they have assembled. Unfortunately, this solution consumes precious power cells, but finally the dozer is pulled free of the mucky hindrance. So, let's see how many of these power cells we used. 8! That's actually a lot of power cells. Actually, I feel like it is, but I'm not sure. Okay, so now we've got these exclamation marks on the map. These are areas that can be explored, so let's just start doing this. I love exploring. It's a lot of fun in this game, actually. While trudging through a field of crimson ash, the crew detects a fairly faint power signature on their sensors. They trace the signal to its source, a seemingly defunct AI unit half buried in the ash, its in-tank vents clogged with soot. Judging from the corrosion on its alloy carapace, the unit has been here for some time. It is clutching a small metallic box. Hell yeah, we're gonna investigate! On approach, the AI unit suddenly blinks to life. Proximity alert! Click! Unit malfunction. Failure of primary imperative. Clicked. Ask about primary imperative. Nano network contact futile. Clicked. Courier cognitive 989 dispatch today. Deliver protocol parcel to intrusion. Suppressor via clicked alternate me method. Huh? With that, the unit's indicator panel dims. The machine shudders briefly and the box falls from its hand. Take the box. The crew leaves the stranded AI unit and returns to the dozer with the protocol parcel. Its purpose, a mystery. The protocol parcel has been added to your cargo. So there are lots of items and bits of cool pieces that will make no sense to you that are added to your dozer that hopefully you will eventually figure out what they actually do. Let's check this location closer to Byzantine here. While the crew explores the area, they encounter a curious duo in a large cart being towed by a Bortpotamus, a big six-legged bedlam creature. One of the men is tinkering with a portable fusion reactor, while the other smaller man is scanning the surroundings of the fusion turret. So we could attack them straight out, we could leave, or we could approach them. Let's see what they're up to. The tinkering man rings a bell and the Bortpotamus halts. The man hops down from the cart and approaches the crew. Greets to you, travelers. Got need your fusion batteries? We have some to spare, and I could rightly use some meat to fill the grumble in these great beasts. Wanna haggle? Trade meat for power cells. That actually sounds like a solid deal, because we just burned a bunch of those. That guy looks like one of the dudes from the Gorillas. Brills. The beast will have a grateful gut, and those power cells are guaranteed not to irritate the user for at least a few suns. The crew leaves the wanderers behind and returns to the dozer. 24 power cells. Oh yeah, that seems like a fair trade, as we die 3 days later from lack of food. Okay. Now I understand it is actually very detrimental to your resources to keep exploring all these exclamation points. We should probably move on, but I'm really digging it. Actually, no, I don't understand. I don't understand anything about this game. We're figuring it out as we go. Let's just be wary of that. While exploring a rocky area, the crew comes upon several crumbling abandoned buildings. Most of the structures have succumbed to the ages of erosion, but one is still mostly intact, indicating its contents were worth protecting. A faded sign on the building reads, Fairton Fusion Co. Yeah, let's find a way inside, for sure. The crew uncovers a small point of entry where the wall was struck by the collapse of another nearby building. The opening is just large enough to squeeze through. Inside a large storage area where this company must have stockpiled their portable fusion batteries, most of the power cells found by the crew have been depleted, but several still retain their charge. The crew returns to the dozer with their valuable stash. Yeah, man, we're stacking up the power cells. Alright, one more area to explore and then we'll move onward. As the crew explores the area, they discover a large scrap field. It is filled with partially dismantled AI units, most of which seem to be models that were not designed for combat. That's a good sign. The units have had all their armor plating breached and their power cells removed. Nothing of value is found among the debris. The crew returns to the dozer. There's nothing special there. Let's go ahead and move onward. We're gonna have a proper combat thing here. We're using a lot of crude and a lot of food this time as well. As the dozer travels alongside the road, you begin steering the vehicle through an area dense with abandoned tech. Along one side of the road is what appears to be an anti-grav rail constructed of an advanced reinforced alloy. Suddenly, a massive machine dashes past, gliding along the rail at preposterous speed. The air is filled with dust and debris in the wake of the strange super train that blasted past. As the mysterious super train disappears into the scrap fields, the dozer continues along the road. Well, that was cool. There's a lot of imagination required to enjoy Bedlam because so much of it is text-based, but I love old games like that. I love that style. So we had a couple more exclamation marks here, but we could also move onward. Let's grab some of these, see what's going on. Using a lot of resources here, though. We're gonna have to find some sort of an area for combat to gather resources. They should actually inform us of what those are on the map. As the crew explores the area, they can hear the sound of machinery nearby, along with the unmistakable whirring of automatons. Following the noise, they discover a group of rogue AI units that appears to be using large devices to refine crude. We're gonna attack them because we need crude. Alarm! Fuel processing facility compromised. Reprioritize task to interface with meat forms using heavy munitions. Alright, so this is our crew selection screen, our away team. I love how they use the word away team as someone who's a huge fan of Star Trek. And let's see here. We're kind of just going to be good to go for now, right? We do have some more high tier health values you can see for our frontliners, and then moving down the line they get more and more squishy. So we've got our gunslingers, our trenchers, we've got our deadeyes, and then we have our frontliners. So we're just going to roll with what we have. You could rename them if you want to, and you can see we've got a variety of different crew members at the moment. You can also get a extended bit of detail as to who they are, what's going on with them, and their actual role. Let's do this thing. Let's get into combat for the very first time. I'll show you guys how it works. Combat in Bedlam is 2 move based per turn. So each side gets 2 moves, regardless of who moves or what they do, or if they attack, move twice, attack. It doesn't really matter. You just have 2 moves. So let's go ahead and start off with our frontliner here and see if we can't get her up nice and close. And then let's see if we can't navigate some of our other guys around here. Behind cover preferably. Also gathering some resources would be nice. These dudes are pretty serious looking. Let's see if we can't get our sniper here within range. Let's go ahead and move this guy a little bit out of the way here. Some great music in this game too. I mean, really genuinely good stuff. Alright. Oh, we're just out of range to whack this guy with our shotgun. So we're going to move in close and we're going to take a hit from behind. Was not a critical hit. Was not a kill is what I should say. Let's just whack him again. Let's whack him twice if we can. I'd rather just get this guy dead and gone while we can. Alright, so let's see what we got going on here. I think everything's kind of in a jumbled mess here. Let's just hit him again. I mean, he's standing there. Let's do a little bit of knockback action. See what we got going on with our other people here. I'd like to grab these resources if we can. He's really picking on our frontliner there. Let's have her dish out some melee of her own and then hit him with the shotgun. That was actually exceptionally successful compared to previous combat encounters I've had on my first first couple runs. So we got 178 crude, 54 meat, and 12 power cells. Not bad, not bad. That went really, really well. I actually really enjoy the combat. The most satisfying thing is when you have an individual crew member rank up to veteran status. They change their appearance, they get new like armor and stuff. It looks so good. We'll see if we can actually make that happen. Let's move onward. While exploring the area, the crew's attention is drawn by the distinct hum of a particle shield. Following the sound, they discover a field covered by a 50-foot dome of energy, being protected by a tech node in the center. Within the shield are a number of rogue AI units laying on the ground, apparently inoperative. There are also several crates of power cells. Let's do it! Combat time. The crew trains their weapons on the energy barrier, but the salvo is deflected and unable to penetrate. The crew leaves the AI behind and returns to the dozer. Sadly, no bueno there. A couple more of these, let's hit them up. Really, Bedlam's the type of game where I say you just go all in. The first, half a dozen playthroughs probably. Learn what the game's about, enjoy the combat, just mess around, have a good time, and then you can start to be a little bit more serious to try and make it through the final thing. At least that's how I enjoy a game like this. While exploring the area, the crew discovers a derelict facility built into the side of a cliff wall. A faded sign near the entrances reads, Majestic Industries Felon Stasis. Your cryo-convict solution. Yeah, why not? Why not? The facility appears to have once been a functioning cryo-prison. Areas of the building interior have collapsed. Their halls are lined with large cylinders, some of which have cracked and spilled their contents onto the floor. Others have the bloated remains of inmates floating within them. This is a messed up place. It seems clear the prisoners are all perished when the power ceased, luckily during the catastrophe that caused the Barren Age long ago. So we can explore the facility. We can have individuals explore the facility rather than sending in a full crew. I don't even know who these two people are. Sadly, there's no way to look at them on the fly right now. Let's just explore the facility. The crew wanders around the defunct prison, the haunting gaze of once frozen convicts following them everywhere. Nothing of value is found. Sadly, nothing there. We got one more mark to check out. Burning through a lot of resources here. While exploring the area, the crew discovers a road that has clearly not been used for ages. Following the road to the top of the rise, they discover a large crumbling structure that appears to be part cathedral and part war factory. Above the partially collapsed entrance is a large insignia that resembles a bishop's hat with a hazard symbol in the center. Judging by their disrepair, the weapon turrets that once guarded the structure are no longer functional. I really hope they're not. The crew cautiously enters the dilapidated facility, which seems to have some kind of research and development area during the ancient crusade of 80 plagues. Much of the building has already long been ransacked and stripped of anything useful, but in the lower levels, the crew discovers a chamber that appears intact. Through the transparent material surrounding the chamber, the crew can see the body of a man wearing the garb of a scourged minister. At least it was a man at some point. His head, wearing an expression of frozen anguish, now rests at the end of a 10-foot-long neck, and a dozen spider-like limbs protrude from his grotesque, distended body. Holy crap, that's terrible. On the floor inside the chamber near the door is a set of keys on a rung bearing the same emblem seen above the building entrance. Given the preserved condition of the body, the room must have been hermetically sealed when the man suffered an accidental fate while testing one of his own horrific maladies. Cut the glass to get the keys, yeah. Using their fusing torches, the crew cuts a hole in the glass near the keys. A loud hiss escapes from the chamber as the section is removed, but their sensors do not detect any active toxins. They reach inside to grab the keyring. Crusader's key has been added to your cargo. That was successful. Oh, okay, maybe not. However, moments later, the body of the Scourge Minister suddenly begins shuddering and thrashing on the floor. A horrifying hollow can be heard as its torso splits open and projects sticky tentacles in all directions. The crew swiftly vacates the facility and returns to the safety of the dozer. Wow, we just made it out of that one. This game very much feels, and I know this is probably just because recently I've been watching Star Trek The Next Generation, but I love, you know, the idea. It has that same sort of build-up, you know. You got the captain back in the ship, you send the away team, you go in, and I don't know. This is just a really great combination of a lot of elements, you know, story, gameplay, and otherwise. Alright, so let's go ahead and make the big move here. 6 days, 210 crude. We're getting low on crude. Hopefully we can find some resources here. The dozer slows as it steers perilously close to a deep, toxic slag pool. Only mutants could survive near such noxious materials. The dozer continues along the road. Alright, we've got some resources right here. It's an equalizer, actually, which is basically something we can use for our dozer. This is going to be really, really close, man. As the dozer travels along the road, you notice a man with peculiar equipment go dashing across your path ahead. You recognize the man as an alchemist, one of the practitioners of transmogrification who convert various substances into other useful materials using black science. The man is being pursued by several angry mutants. The dozer comes to a halt and the crew disembarks to investigate. "Dat mort be doing the wicked things that made the big chaos. You be getting shredded for interloping on the penance." Man, they're like Jar Jar. Alright, let's mess these guys up. So, sadly, Ambara is healing up. We're going to have to grab one of our other frontliners. Let's go with Dens here. And we're good to go. Let's engage in combat and grab ourselves an alchemist. I like the sound of this guy. So these dudes, they can be a handful, man. They're pretty much all gunslinger classes, so let's see how we can't run this. We definitely need to get some crude. So honestly, the first thing I want to do is focus on grabbing some of this if I can. But we need to be cautious about the whole thing as well. Because if we die, then we don't get any of the crude. That guy's gonna get toasted. Let's get him behind cover. Try and get our sniper here in range. We probably should have sat back and we would have been alright. That was a stupid move on my part. Yeah, this is rough. We got a lot of hard decisions to make here. Let's fall back. Should be able to engage there. These dudes like to heal, and it's frustrating. That's one man down. go. The sniper is definitely a useful tool early game. That is for sure. Oh, he survived that one, shockingly. That is not substantial cover. I should have recognized that. Alright, I think we're gonna make it through this alright.
Crude.
Well done! Oh, we got a veteran! Oh, we didn't get to see him transform mid-combat. That always looks so cool, but you guys can see there he's got like some white armor going on now. Awesome, awesome. With the mutants defeated, the alchemist emerges from hiding and approaches. Grats to you, travelers! These inhospitable creatures have been chasing me for many suns! In exchange for your timely assistance, I offer this matter manipulation apparatus of my own creation. While not as productive as a full alchemist laboratory, it is nonetheless able to duplicate small amounts of many useful materials. And now I shall continue through the Scorched Hills in search of other elements to alter with the archaic arts. The resource replicator has been installed as a battle equalizer on your dozer. Cool, cool. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and stop it there, guys. You can see we've actually got, looks like a veteran fight here, an elite possibly, which is a sort of hardcore boss fight, but if you defeat the guy, he'll actually join your dozer crew. We've got some power cells. We're running really low on crude, so hopefully we'll be able to pick some up. We're gonna have to make some hard decisions the next time I go ahead and play this. But that's been a brief look at Bedlam, guys. It's $20 on Steam right now. Honestly, if you enjoy games that can be painstakingly difficult, that require a lot of, you know, failure to succeed, then I strongly recommend Bedlam. There's some awesome stuff going on with the art style here, and I've really enjoyed the game while I've been playing it. I especially enjoy doing my own personal narrations, even when playing alone, for a lot of the characters that you run into. It is very much a game that blends a lot of old school, you know, sort of pen and paper stuff with some really great simplified combat. I like the idea of just 2 moves and you're done. You know, while I'm a huge fan of what they did with XCOM, and I'm looking forward to XCOM 2, trust me, those fights could get really drawn out and boring sometimes. Bedlam manages to keep everything quick, intense, fast, and brutal, and I really enjoy the combat. Once again, the game is available on Steam. It is $19.99 if you're here in the States. If you guys have any other questions for me regarding Bedlam, feel free to throw them down in the comments section below. And may I one day see you roaming the wastes on your way to Aztec City.